welcome back to Books and Coffee with Tea. I don't think I've really ever introduced myself as Books and Coffee with Tea, but I'm Tina. I like books and I like coffee. I am currently pregnant and I'm about to have my first baby, and so that has taken over literally everything else in my life. But I have been doing a little bit of reading, and I wanted to talk about I wanted to talk about the books that I've already read this year, which is not very many. And I also want to talk about the books that I would like to read through the rest of this year. We are just over halfway through July. I have only read 7 books this year. My goal is 20. Let's also just take into consideration that I've had a lot going on this year. I do also have a very busy job that doesn't really allow a lot of time for me to just chill and hang out. And I also just don't chill and hang out very well anyway. Reading and books are a huge hobby of mine, and my goal just in general is to really lean into that. I'm getting so many messages right now, of course, while I decide to film something, so pause. Okay, sorry. I love that the second I decide to sit down and film something, that's when everybody is messaging me, calling me. I don't really love it when people try to access me. I'm not gonna lie to you. Today we're talking about the books that I've read this year, the whole 7 books that I've read this year, and all the books that I would like to read this year, which is more than 7. All right, so I have my little notepad here because Goodreads is on my phone and I can't access that. So the books that I've read so far in 2026, and I'm just now realizing I think in my reading journal I actually have my ratings, so I'll go through that because that's important. So the first book I read was Finley Donovan is Killing It. I read it on the Kindle. This is by El Cosimano. I rated this one 4 stars, it looks like. Yeah, 4 stars. And I have a hard time sometimes with starting a book and then stopping it, and I know for all of these books that's exactly what happened. I think there's only one book that I read this year so far that I did not do that with. But yeah, it was good. 4 stars. I rated it 4. What I rated it for, if I looked back and rated it again, I don't know, but I rated it 4 nonetheless. The second book that I finished this year was Magnolia Parks by Jessa Hastings. This one was a very frustrating read. I only rated it 2 stars, but look, here's my thing. I think I would re-rate it about 4 stars because I do constantly think about that book, and it really stuck with me, and I am very intrigued by the characters, even though they're very toxic and I don't like them. The story is very interesting, and it's good. I was a hater, and I'm not a hater anymore. So the third book I read this year was The Housemaid by Frida McFadden. I did the audiobook for this one, and I rated this one 4 stars. It was very fast-paced. It was a real page-turner, or rather, I would just speed up the audio so that I could get through it faster. And I did really like it. It was really good. I did listen to the audio or read it with the intention of watching the movie, which I still have not done. But it was very good. And I do enjoy Frida McFadden. She's kind of crazy and her books are wild, but it was good. Okay, so the fourth book I read this year is called Sunrise on the Reaping by Suzanne Collins. Just a little book if you've never heard of it. It's part of the Hunger Games universe. And I rated this one 5 stars. This is the only 5-star of my reading this year so far. And look, I'm never gonna rate a Hunger Games book less than 5 stars. I think that's just a bias that I have. But it was really, really good. I really enjoyed the narrator also, who was in Yellowstone, if you don't know. I think he's also actually gonna be in the movie, which is crazy. And I'm super excited to see the movie. But it was 5 stars all around. I would rate that book 5 stars over and over and over and over again. And I only listened to the audio because I didn't have the physical copy, but it was very good. Moving on. The 5th book that I read this year is called Verity by Colleen Hoover. Also going to be a movie, I think later this year or early next year or something like that. I rated this one 3 stars and I did like it, but there were some elements to it that were just kind of annoying to me. I also have been seeing stuff on like Book Talk and Instagram on like how people are saying that they don't think that Colleen Hoover actually wrote it because it's very different style wise. I kind of disagree. If you've read a couple of her other books, like the one that caused all the controversy that I can't remember the name of right now. I don't even have a copy of it anymore. Was it like I don't remember the name of it. It's like Us First or I don't remember. Part of me wants to say like All the Things, but like that's not true. I don't remember the title. I think that the writing is similar, but it is more suspenseful. So part of me wonders if she maybe had like not a ghostwriter, but like if she had like a writing partner that actually like helped her write the book in terms of like the suspense, because I don't think I've ever read a book of hers that's like suspenseful. Maybe it was also just a book outside of her comfort zone and she loved it. I don't know. We don't know. Excited to see the movie. I do love Josh Hartnett. Sorry. So I'm really excited to see the movie. The 6th book that I read this year is called Beach Read by Emily Henry. This one I rated 2 stars. It was boring. I'm very sorry, and I apologize to Emily Henry lovers, but this book was boring for me. And the characters were just kind of meh. The main male character, I didn't really like him. The female main character, didn't really like her very much. They just kind of seemed, what was the word? When I was reading it, I was like, this just feels very like they have to have elevated humor, and I don't really like, if you think you're smarter than everybody, I don't really like that. So that one was a 2 star for me. I don't really have a ton of thoughts on that other than it was boring and I just didn't love it. There were moments that I liked, but for the most part, didn't like it. The 7th book that I've read this year is One Golden Summer by Carly Fortune, and I'm giving this one a 3. I rated it on Goodreads as a 3 star, but it's a 3.25 for me. I did like our female main character. I don't know how I really feel about the male main character of this one. I think it was super predictable. If you've read romances before, or like fiction romance before, contemporary fiction, whatever, contemporary romance, it was predictable. Like including spoilers, including like the 3rd act like breakup. What? Huh? The 3rd act breakup. And then like this whole like I'm a wounded guy type situation, and she sees through that and da-da-da. Like, it was predictable, but I did like our female main character a lot. I found her very relatable, even though I predicted literally everything happening in this book. So it wasn't like the most interesting book. It wasn't terrible. If you like that type of like cookie cutter romance type thing, then recommend. But it just wasn't my favorite. I don't know. I feel like I'm just like, the books have just not, ever since, honestly, books have just not been hitting. But if I look, of all the books that I've read, if I were to go back and re-rate, I think Magnolia Parks and Sunrise on the Reaping would be the highest ones for me. So there's that. That's all the books that I've read this year. Moving on to the books that I want to read this year. For the rest of this year, these are the books that are kind of on my like I don't really have an official TBR, but these are the books that if I had an official TBR, these would kind of be the ones that would be really swimming around in it. Some of these are books that I currently am in the middle of, and I just want to freaking finish them. So those books are The Poppy War by R.F. Kuang. I am like 80 or so pages into that one. That one is like deceivingly long, because even though it looks like a little book, the pages are so thin, it's actually like 500 pages. So, and the font's not large. So it's deceivingly long, but it is very good and I'm into it, and I would like to finish that book this year. The second one on this list is Crescent City #2 by House of Sky and Breath. Nope. It is the Crescent City book #2, House of Sky and Breath by Sarah J. Maas. I have been reading this book for a while now, which is so frustrating because I flew through the first book, which I don't even remember the name of at this point, but I flew through the first one and loved it. And now the second one is just slow. Oh my gosh, I feel like I need to take a nap. The second one is just not, the movement is different. And I feel like there's just so many characters that I'm like kind of struggling to really understand what's going on, to be perfectly honest with you. I want to finish it though. I would like to finish it. I don't know if I'm going to end up reading the third one. I don't know how many she plans on having in this series, but I would like to finish the second one because I've started it. I also am in the middle of Caraval by Stephanie Garber. I would like to finish that book by the end of this year. I think I will. It is a quicker young adult fantasy book, and it's really good. I am one of those people that if I know a book is going to be really good, I kind of like stop reading it because I just don't want it to end. And that's a bad habit I have. I talked about this the other day in a different vlog, I think, but I need to just get over that, and I need to just read the books because who knows how much time we have. I just want to read the books. So Caraval, and then I'm also in the middle of Game of Thrones by George Martin. I think there's one more that I'm in the middle of on this list. And look, it's good. I do like Game of Thrones. There are a lot of characters. I have seen the show, most of it. I didn't watch like the full last couple seasons, but I did watch the last like handful of episodes. So I know how things end in terms of the show. And I think the book is really well written and the characters are really good. And I'm just interested to see how the books differ from the show, to be honest with you. Then the last book that I'm in the middle of right now that I want to read by the end of the year is a book called American Dirt by Janine Cummins. I have been listening to the audiobook of this one mostly. I do also have the physical copy because my mom gave me a physical copy, but I have been listening to the audiobook because I do think that adds like a special layer to this book. It's about a woman and her son who are traveling, or rather they're trying to come to America from Mexico, and it's just kind of talking about like their journey, the things that they're having to work through while they're on their way here, and the obstacles and just like the horror of it all. And it's very enlightening and it's very good. So I'm not even done with it, but I would recommend, and I'm pretty sure it's going to be a 4 or 5 star. So, but I'm mostly listening to the audiobook just because I think that does add like a special layer, because there's a lot of Spanish spoken in it, and I think the audiobook really does like make you feel like you're in that world, and I don't speak Spanish. So now I'm going to move on to books that I just really want to read by the end of this year. I'm going to start with Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. I feel like I'm so left out in the book community because I haven't read this yet. I don't know when people talk about this whole Xaden situation. I don't know what they're talking about, and I feel really left out. I have a lot of FOMO, and I just want to know what's going on. So I want to read that. I also have Mistborn by Brandon Sanderson. I have started this book a couple times, but I just feel like I'm never in the right place to read it. I feel like this is a book where I need to like read through it within like a weekend. I don't know why that is. I just feel like this is a book that has to be binged. So I'm kind of waiting for that to happen, or for that opportunity to present itself, really. The next book is War and Peace by Leo Tolstoy. I have also started this one on a few occasions. This is a very long, chunky book. It's like that thick. I do have a translation of it that I like, but the font is so freaking small that I need to get a different version of that same translation with bigger font so that I can actually read it, because my eyes cannot read that tiny anymore. I also would like to read a book called An Ember in the Ashes. An Ember in the Ashes by Sabah Tahir. I have the first and the second book of this series. I don't know how many books are in the series, but I have the first and second, and I just see the cover all the time, and I've like read the back a few times, and it just seems so interesting, and I want to read it. So there's that one. And then I also have the second, or I guess it's not the second, but it's the Daisy Hates book by Jessa Hastings. I would like to read that. I have the first 4 books of that written by Jessa Hastings. So I have the first 2 Magnolia Parks and the first 2 Daisy Hates ones, I think is what it is. But the way that they were published, I think, is Magnolia Parks 1, Daisy Hates, the Magnolia Parks 2, and then Daisy Hates 2. So yeah, but I also really want to read The Assassin's Blade by Sarah J. Maas. And honestly, that full series, I would really like to read that full series by the end of this year. It's very intriguing to me. I also feel very left out of the book community because I don't know what is going on. And people talk about it all the time, and I just feel very left out. So I would like to read that. It also does interest me. I don't just want to read it because I feel left out. I just, I want to read it. So I also really want to read the duology Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom by Leigh Bardugo. I did read the Shadow and Bone series, and that series got me back into reading. So I would really like to read that duology at some point. I don't know if that's going to be a this year thing. I'm going to be a little busy with a baby, so I don't know. But we're going to do our best. And then the last thing that I would really like to read throughout the rest of this year is I really want to read more of my Bible. I have not been very good about that. I don't read it every day. I try to do these like reading plans, and then I just get overwhelmed and frustrated. So I need to find something where I can just like read a little bit here, a little bit there, and like still read it every day, but just like a little bit, you know what I mean? And just like go from there. But yeah, those are the books that I've read this year and the books that I would like to read throughout the rest of this year. Lots of books. I mean, I guess not a ton, but I'm doing what I can do, you know? I work full time usually. Right now I'm on maternity leave, but for some reason my exhaustion has just been like amped up, so I'm sleeping and getting the rest that I need before this baby comes. Let's hope he comes kind of soon. But at the same time, if he doesn't come for a couple more weeks, that's kind of okay too, because then I still don't have to work. So I'm okay with that. Thanks for watching. Hopefully we can see some of these books that I've talked about coming up in the next few months. But yeah. See you next time. Bye.